Hey everyone, Win the Editor here. Before the video starts, I just wanted to let you know this DC rewrite is a 3-part video. The first part is obviously this one. The second part is going to be posted on Saturday. The third part is going to be posted, not 100% sure when, but we'll tell you on the weekly for this upcoming week. So also, I just wanted to say, Will, finish your script. That's all. Enjoy the video.
Hello everyone, we're the Continuity Crew. I'm Will. That's Win, and today we got another episode of Continuity Crew Podcast. What is this, episode 5?
5.
Doing DC Rewrite. We mentioned it in like our past 3 weeklies because we keep pushing off, but
Yeah,
here it is. We're doing it, and then we're gonna have to come up with our next one after this. So,
It could be 2 parts though.
Yeah, we'll probably do another one of this because Win's got a lot. Win went more in depth than I did for this, but
Because I care.
well, I care too. It's just all up in the noggin.
I just care way too much about these characters just to be like, I'm just
That's
gonna do
fair.
this. Yeah.
And I tried to do like 2 or 3, so like whatever.
Fair enough. Did you have a baseline for this? Did you have like a
I just went into it. Honestly, the one I put the most effort into, I just want to make it different, and I want it to be interesting, and like how am I going to compete with Marvel is like one of the big things that I thought about going down the line of like all the movies. I did 24 movies to, again, can say I was competing with Marvel. But I feel like we're getting ahead of ourselves. So just to preface it, we're rewriting the DCEU from like, say Warner Bros. Gave us $1 trillion and we get to make 24 movies, or we're the Kevin Feige.
Oh shit, I did it completely differently.
Well,
I thought of it as like, okay, what if they were like, we're looking for new people to direct these movies.
I mean, that works too. Like
give us a pitch.
I wanted to go down and like even fan cast everyone, but I didn't get to that. And maybe we'll talk about that a little, like who we'd want to play who. I feel like that'd be a good little talk. But what I'll do when you start us off with yours, since you said you're.
So the way I did mine is that I had a baseline, right?
Okay.
For the story and for the world in general. My characters don't really want to be superheroes, because you mentioned this a long time ago. You were like, yeah, they're just gods who want to be people.
Yeah.
And the way to really do that is just kind of underpower them, undermine them, all that kind of thing. They want nothing to do with heroism. When they finally got to a point where people recognize them as such, the government became against the idea of their vigilantism. That's kind of an idea that's stemmed since from the first Batman, stuff like that. At this point, it's the government against the heroes. That's not really an unfamiliar territory, except this time it's just, they did that in Marvel, but this time I'm doing it in like, well, what if it was just like, I hate to do, because we talked about this, but what if it was like race? What if it was like race where people
like their powers?
No, because like the thing is, like when I wrote this, I had 3 main people that I had in mind. I had Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, and Superman in mind. And those are they're kind of aliens in terms of that. Well, she's kind of a god. She's from this place that's kind of unknown. So I kind of thought of it that way, where it's like, well, what if the government was just kind of like, well, we just don't want you here on this earth and stuff like that. So
kind of like Watchmen, at least the Watchmen movie.
Yeah, like that. I'm not really doing a whole DCEU kind of thing. I'm just kind of doing like,
you're kind of going for what I guess Snyder was going for. He wanted that more contained story because he was gonna have the 3-part Justice League and then be done.
In a sense, yeah. I didn't really want to do a kind of Justice League ending. I kind of just wanted to do like, well, what if we flesh out these characters a little more, and maybe just just poke around.
Not to poke at you, but like kind of what they did with Joker, like
a little bit,
like fleshing it out a character more than making just like a big action movie.
That is the mindset that I had. It was like the Joker,
which I don't know if that would compete to like, but it would still be cool to see. So like,
no, it's like think of it as like, okay, well, what if we just do a movie, just a singular movie,
Mhm.
and not connect them or anything
Yeah.
like that. I just wanted it to be
Which is also a great idea. So
yeah, because like the way I wrote this down is that I'm not doing a whole DCU entirely because as far as I can tell, that's how every property who's tried to do a movie franchise
Mhm.
universe has failed. The Dark Universe and even the current DCU. So
yeah.
yeah, I think I should just jump into the first movie that I have in mind.
Go.
I did because I keep mentioning this before. Let's say this was 2012. Just imagine
Okay.
this was 2012. We haven't really had a woman superhero at the
Mhm.
time. We didn't really have like a proper like. They've always had this
Yeah.
bad karma kind of towards
The woman,
female
yeah, the
superheroes.
woman heroine didn't really come into
Yeah.
the spotlight until like
Wonder Woman technically.
yeah, like
or
20
Jessica Jones.
I guess like when did Hunger Games come out? Because I felt like that kind of
13.
that
I
like
think.
lit the fire a little
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit,
there.
I want to say the first movie that I'll have is Wonder Woman.
Which I love, honestly. Just to peek in mind, like Wonder Woman's like 5 and 6 for me because I wanted to get it in there
Yeah.
early because I guess Captain Marvel was like 20 in the
Yeah.
MCU.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So it took them a while to have a female led. So like starting off, I think how I was looking at like competing with the MCU, I was
Yeah.
like, you got to get it in there quick, like, or how they screwed up Black Widow, like.
Well, the
10 years
thing
too late.
Also, the thing with this character is that I wanted to make it grounded. I know that's really stupid because Wonder Woman is not really a grounded character. She's a goddess or whatever. But the thing is, like, I wanted to kind of ground it a little bit, have that World War II stuff because that was really interesting to me in the first Wonder Woman,
or
2016.
World War One.
Yeah. That was really interesting to me, and also she's a great character to introduce, kind of a mystical and universal threat.
Yes.
In a sense, because she mentioned, or she actually fought Hades, or was it Ares?
Yes.
And I thought that was like,
It gives it. She's like just grounded enough, you know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I get where you're coming from.
I was gonna do like a kind of a Nolan aesthetic, except it's not as dark as
Okay.
Nolan's movies,
Yeah.
because like in the first Dark Knight, it was really dark, and you
Yes.
couldn't really make out the whole Gotham City.
Mhm.
I mean, I get it; it's for the story, but for Wonder Woman, it's just unnecessary for it to be that dark. So
Yes.
I want to keep that kind of level of look, but still have that kind of Nolan
Mhm.
feel. Yeah, I wanted to have also a familiarity with the Nolan trilogy so
Mhm.
that it looks like it connects. So it makes people
Okay.
wonder if like, oh, maybe it connects or shit like that.
Yeah.
The only thing that I changed about this one though is that I know I said I kept it. I think I said that. I said I'm going to say that I'm keeping the story from 2016, except the ending. I
Okay.
want to get rid of Ares. I just want.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I
'cause,
tried to
like-
kind of I kept Ares in mind, and we'll get to it. But like,
Because I think it would just be a whole lot better if like Steve Trevor was just like, there's no actual like Ares. It's just people. It's just man
Yeah.
just doing this to each other, and there's
Yeah,
no
that
like
would be
mystical
good.
shit. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like I thought it'd be cool just to have like this kind of overwhelming moment for Wonder Woman where it's like,
mhm.
wow, this is actually really bad.
Yes.
This people they suck. So yeah, I just want to get rid of Ares almost immediately. I just wanted to have Diane, just kind of her own
Yeah.
movie, and
And so there was this Wonder Woman pilot, like for a TV show, where it's not necessarily this, but I'm pretty sure she was like this grounded character, and literally she sold her like toys so she could fund her superheroing vigilanteing.
have I seen that before?
I
I think I'm
it
familiar
was
with
just like a single episode. It never got off the ground, but like I'm like that, and also, of course the CW, for some reason that feels so CW, but like
it does.
that'd be interesting if
It also feels like Kamala Khan.
yeah,
Ms.
actually
Marvel.
it kind of does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where she was just like, yeah, she's a fan. And
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
I did as far as do a post credit scene.
Mhm.
My post credit scene is that it's okay. The movie ends. It's her and Trevor. They're in Manhattan or
Mhm.
Metropolis or whichever you want
Yes.
to choose. They're in there. They're living life. It's the 80s, so I set this in
Okay.
that tone. It's still in the same chronological order. They're in the 80s. And the way I did it was it's an early morning in the mid 80s Metropolis, heavy traffic and car horns echoes the streets of downtown Metropolis. She enters into a coffee shop with Steve Trevor. She orders for 3, and in the corner, because this is the 80s, they had TVs in places that shouldn't have TVs. In the corner, you just hear the news, and it says, "Breaking news: Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne shot and killed in a robbery. Witnesses are saying man with a clown mask was seen fleeing from the scene."
I like
And
it.
then cut to black. And that's my only connection that I wanted to make.
I like, well, and so I did something similar with all my movies. I gave the plot kind of summary, and then I gave the post-credit scene. That was all of it. And honestly, part of it, which I loved doing, it was like all the movies was like you just let your imagination fill in the gaps, and like here's your starting point and here's your ending point, and we're just gonna go from there. But I do really like that. That's kind of what I did with mine, again, just to hype mine up.
Keep in mind also that I also added Robert Pattinson's Batman in this.
Okay.
Because it does feel like it also fits with the universe.
And
yeah.
that, like timing too.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I don't think my Batman had like a movie until I think it was like 10, past 10 at least. But he was already there. He was kind of the Nick Fury, I guess, in my.
So he's already established.
Yes, yeah, it's like we don't need to know Batman or Superman's story for that matter, and like we just know it already. We're just going right into it.
I did something strongly illegal about Superman in this universe.
I kind of did too. So go ahead.
No, I want to see. I want to hear your first one.
I'll do curious. Actually, this will kind of work because I did 3 phases, and you're gonna do 3 movies.
Oh,
so
okay,
I'll go through my first phase. So I did 3 phases, each 8 movies. So starting off, completely different. We're gonna have the villains have the first movie, and we're gonna have new gods.
That's bold.
So yeah, I know. I kind of regret it, like thinking back, but like it's sculpted like from that. So you have Darkseid, Granny Goodness, High Father, and the whole movie is essentially just a power struggle for the throne. It could be a standalone movie about these characters fighting through the throne, and in the end, like Darkseid wins, and he's the antagonist. So the antagonist wins, the bad guy wins in this movie, and it's just him on the throne at the end, and he wins essentially. It's this power struggle, like I said. It's almost like think like royal, like England type movie.
Royalty, yeah.
Stuff like that, but you're dealing with the new gods. So
fair enough.
But at the end, all that it becomes is Batman finds this high energy like of Darkseid
almost immediately.
Like that's the post credit scene. He finds it and he's like, oh shit, we gotta do something about this. Like, or he just detects it more or less.
It's kind of that same vibe when Batman was like hunting Superman down. He was like,
yeah, it's kind of
the
yes. Yeah. So going from there, movie number 2, we go into, I wanted to just stay in space to keep it like not necessarily go to Earth. Like we're gonna stay in space for a little bit. We're gonna do Green Lantern. We're gonna follow Jon Stewart and Sinestro, and just like the blue people, whatever they're called.
I don't remember what they're
I think they're just called the Guardians.
Avatars?
Yeah. But the planet Oa, and it's all there, and it's the power. It's essentially Green Lantern, like the Ryan Reynolds one, but like we kind of stay on the planet Oa, and it's the whole yellow and green power struggle stuff. So again, just another power struggle. At the end, Sinestro gets the yellow ring, and we see him.
So are you going full are you going full just like space stuff? Like
no. The next movie we go. We go completely different. I tried honestly to have as many genres as I could in this movie and this universe. So at the end, Batman meets Jon Stewart on Earth, fighting some villain that was overwhelming Batman. I didn't have one picked, but like we could say, I don't know, Polka Dot Man or some bullshit. But he shows up, and like they recruit him, kind of like your post credit scene in like Iron Man or whatever with Nick Fury. Next one was 2 that I don't think we'll have in. Actually, that's not true because we're getting a Blue Beetle movie. But
isn't there a show?
He may have been in the TV show.
What was that Amazon show? Blue Bug something.
Oh, The Tick.
Oh, never mind.
I
thought that was the same for people.
But Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, they're like kind of buddies in the comics. And so it's just a buddy cop movie. The villains are going to be the Rogues. You've got Captain Cold, Heatwave, Captain Boomerang. You also introduce the Flash in the middle of this movie, and they're kind of all like buddies, like they're and then it's just like I said, a buddy cop movie. They're fighting crime. They put away the bad guys. But the post-credit scene is Batman sends Booster Gold and Blue Beetle to space to investigate something. They don't know what. But we do know what. It's Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
We're going to Mars.
Yeah.
So the next movie, again, with another power.
Oh, yeah, that was hinted in the old animation, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's essentially what I based the next one off of, which was Martian Manhunter. They go to Mars, and the whole thing, again, yet another power struggle of the Martians and the another extraterrestrial race that's kind of taking over. But to like go back, it's the New Gods who sent this race to take over Mars, essentially, and almost set up like a base on Mars to watch Earth, because it's like Batman knows about Darkseid and Darkseid knows about Batman.
Yeah.
And so, but essentially, like, it's just Martian Manhunter movie. He's the last Martian alive. Post-credit scene ends up being Booster Gold and Blue Beetle landing on Mars, and they just see Martian Manhunter alone, like just chilling on a rock, and like they're like, "Hey, we kind of need you on Earth. Do you want to come?" And he's kind of the, I don't know. You can think the animated series, but I was kind of fan casted him as almost Batista's Drax, kind of. Like he's this like stone cold, very serious, like Martian Manhunter.
But except Batista's, it was kind of
not as goofy. Batista, but like
I know what you mean.
Drax character. And then
not stupid though.
Yeah. So the next two are, we're gonna throw Wonder Woman in there because I wanted to get that female led character movie. And so 5 and 6 are both Wonder Woman 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure this is the only one that goes like sequentially one after another. I have other sequels, but the first one is she fights Cheetah. The powers, again, given by the New Gods to Cheetah. Like, she's just given these powers. We don't get any backstory for Wonder Woman. We already know it. Like, your big three, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman. Yeah. We don't need to see it again.
No, you don't need to see it.
And Wonder Woman already knows Batman. Like, their relationship's already established. Like, and we just go from there. Again, they detect something from the New Gods in Greece. And that leads to the second one, where Ares is trying to take over Greece for some artifacts down below Greece. And that's where you kind of go from that one. It's not, and that's it. Because to the next movie, there's no post-credit scene that I'd written down. I honestly just couldn't think of one. Because the next one, I actually really like. My idea for this one is, it's just called Krypton.
Okay. It's
Superman and Supergirl on Krypton. They're a couple instead of cousins.
Oh, that's weird.
No, they're.
I know what you're trying to do. I know what you mean.
But Superman dies. Okay. And he's sent to essentially where Zod went. Mm-hmm. Zod is the villain. He's allied with the New Gods, and they're fighting each other, essentially this war on Krypton, and Krypton explodes in the end. So the post-credit scene ends up being like, so we have Krypton explode. That's the whole story. But Kara-El goes out, and the post-credit scene, Killer Croc, King Shark, and Cheetah are all at the bank, robbing a bank, overwhelming Flash, when Supergirl comes in and saves them and warns them that Zod's coming, and that's why she left Krypton. And essentially, again, I feel like I stole a few things from Marvel, but like Zod's kind of your Loki coming into the Avengers. Yeah. Because your next one for the end of the phase is the first Justice League movie. You've got Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Flash, Wonder Woman, SG. I mean Green Lantern? I don't know. Martian Manhunter, Batman, but not until the big final act, because we still really haven't seen Batman in action. So Martian Manhunter is off world, and he's looking for help being Hawk Girl and Hawk Guy. And the post credit ends up being Zod is the villain, and Zod is the villain, and they discovered kryptonite. I don't know what I was doing with that one.
I had a hard time trying to put in Hawk Girl and Hawk Guy. I tried, but I just scrapped it completely.
Mine.
I was gonna tie it into like Green Lantern and Hawk Girl kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
I didn't write much for that because I honestly don't know the characters that well.
I don't either. Yeah.
But that's phase one. Essentially, the Justice League movie is just kind of your Zod's coming and like fighting the Justice League on Earth. So go ahead for your next one.
For my next one, okay, so this one I really worked hard on, sort of. I had a lot of time to think about this one because I really care about this character. We saw him recently, the voice actor. We saw him recently in what is it? Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier. So this really just kind of like turned my head or turned my brain on or something like that. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. But so for this movie, I wanted it kind of Logan style, except not the whole gritty shit. I don't want, I didn't want that. I didn't want it to be that serious, but I wanted it enough to where people can relate to the character at the very least, even though it's like basically on the run character.
Yes.
So this one takes place in World War II, at least the first act, or the first part. It takes place in World War II, and it's John Jones. He landed on, I guess, Nevada, but I don't know what the equivalent is in Justice League or in DC Comics. But it's basically like that. He lands on there. It's him trying to run away, or he was sent away. It's like the Superman story, except it's John Jones. He's a fully formed adult. He is running away from something. He lands on the Nevada desert. He gets captured by military, and they experiment on him. That's just kind of a flashback of the character. And then we cut to kind of a more recent time, well, 80s, 90s, something around those times. It's him just living life, trying to get used to it, until eventually the people who are looking for him, or the people who were experimenting on him, found him, and the people who helped him out of the facility are killed. So for that to happen, I added in there that it was a couple of scientists. They felt bad for the character because of the telekinesis that they showed him and the life before that they had. So he wanted to be, he wanted to be nice and all that, or they wanted to be nice, so they took him out. They made him live in their house.
Martian Manhunter is such a cool character. For being a Martian, he's such a relatable character. So
he in this movie though, he kind of has like, there's a couple of caveats to him. One is that how he's weak around fire and all that stuff because he's already overpowered. Like Martian Manhunter is so overpowered. I needed him to be grounded.
Yeah.
So the way I did it was that he was kind of weak around the sun.
Okay.
He wasn't like weak, but he was weak enough to where he couldn't change back to his form.
Okay.
So he's stuck in whatever form he was in. So the way I did that was, since the scientists were black, he was gonna be black, and that's where Mr. John Jones from Falcon and Winter Soldier comes in. He's gonna play that role.
Okay.
He's gonna look old. So the couple that helped him gets killed. He runs away from them, just to continue at the very end, basically. John Jones was a soldier, so attacked him at his home, able to attack back with his strength. He couldn't attack back, or he tried to attack back, but this is where it kind of gets cringy, because the way I put this together was, okay, this was maybe like Compton or something like that.
Okay.
And there's these like just unknown people. They're kind of military, but you don't know.
Yes.
And then they were just like taking out their guns, and they were about to attack the scientist and Martian Manhunter. So everyone else kind of riles in. They start shooting at them, but it ends up killing one of the scientists, and the other one's still alive. But John Jones and him kind of ran, and that's where the whole Logan thing starts. So yeah, that's where they try to run away. And then at some point, he was found, because this time the scientist kind of had help from the alien life forms that was after him in the beginning, which is the White Martians. I had a whole backstory to that, but I had to get rid of it.
Okay.
Because it was so convoluted. I was just like, I'm not gonna go into that too much.
I was gonna do something like that for my Martian Manhunter one. I'm like, nah, the New Gods just sent some aliens to get him. I don't.
Yeah, no, I got rid of them almost immediately. The backstory of it, at least, but it's basically the same. There's a power struggle on not Mars. Oh, I completely forgot to mention that it's not gonna be on Mars. I know that's his backstory. I don't care. It just doesn't make sense at this point to have him as a Martian when people have watched they had telescopes and shit. So I didn't have him as a Martian. I have him some other planet. The way he got his Martian title is because that's where they thought he was from.
Yeah.
They thought he was from Mars, and that's almost every alien nowadays that you
Yeah, you just call him a Martian.
yeah, you just call him Martian. So I had him as that. It has the character design that I had in mind was still kind of the animated one, not no intricate shit where it's like
Oh yeah,
the one
like Snyder.
yeah. I don't like that. It's so
like
dumb.
it was great to see Martian Manhunter and Snyder cut, but it's just like what?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I wanted him to have still like also something that really bothers me about alien movies is that they have aliens without clothes on, and it's like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I had him in like a kind of synthetic looking suit. It's just when he transforms back, he forms into that. Yeah, and it's all white. I don't remember where I got that from, but yeah, it's a sign of royalty from where he's from because he is a royal.
I can see some light with like the red spots he's got.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. So he has a royalty kind of thing. He's kind of like a king, a ruler, but he's kind of a villain.
Okay.
Except while he's on Earth, he kind of develops as this kind of connection with people because that's something that he never did.
He's an alien becoming kind of like
a human.
Yeah. And you could even talk about like your Wonder Woman one where she's
So it's basically like that. It's him from a higher place, a higher honor, to this kind of lowly peasant sort of feeling, and then he goes back and he understands.
So it's coming to America,
basically. Except coming to America was just kind of like goofy as shit.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense, but this one I really wanted him to be human, so that whenever in his inevitable return, he understands the people around him. So that's why he got the telepathy stuff, and I really wanted to do a different language style where he's speaking a different language, but I was like, that's also going to be convoluted, so I'm going to get rid of that. Just make him speak English. I think I had post-credit scene for him, but I don't remember what it was. I didn't get it to write it down, but yeah, there's a whole story about him. It's this long. The page is this long, so there's a big old story.
No, yeah.
So I milked him out because that's
I
the one
it is
character
just
that
such
I
a
never
cool
did.
character.
It is.
And like it's they could just do so much with I feel like there's so much you could do with it, like just specifically like the alien, like the fish out of water dynamic and stuff like that. So
and also he's like 7 foot something in the comics.
Yeah,
I wanted to do something with that too, so that's why I wanted the Falcon and Winter Soldier guy, the black Captain America. I wanted him there, so because he looks like he could be 7 foot tall or something like that. So, and I also loved his voice too. Yeah. So I just want to have a proper Martian Manhunter movie. Like
maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day. I just want to see it. That's why I wrote this. Like this was one of the first things I wrote.
I think the Flash is just, again, side note, I think the Flash is gonna reset everything.
Oh yeah, I also have the Flash on here.
Yeah, the current DC stuff is just so, dude.
Yeah. It's messy. It really is messy. And the thing is, now I understand why it's so messy. Because if you were trying to compete with like Marvel, let's say, if you were trying to compete with Marvel, their characters are they're very human. These characters, it's very difficult to make them grounded, to be grounded.
Yeah, like you can make as many Batman movies as you want because it's Batman and he's essentially this icon. But when you get to like Superman and Wonder Woman, like
it kind of gets goofy.
It's hard because with Marvel, you've got Thor, just Thor, like, and it's.
But even then, they were able to make him human.
But it's like this one god character surrounded by people, so it kind of works like the fish out of water with like Martian Manhunter. But then it's like Batman's the fish out of water because as the human, so it's kind of weird. But it's also Marvel. I don't know how. I'm sure there's a reason for it, but it's like the characters that are like humans in DC aren't as popular.
No,
like your Superman, Wonder Woman. Like Flash is even kind of one. Like,
well, it's understandable because this was created in early World War II.
Yeah,
maybe
I
late
guess,
World War
like
I. So like people wanted to disconnect from the world, and they wanted something that's like that feels hope.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's like exactly why I like DC more. It's like Marvel is like the more realistic stuff, like grounded. While I just want a crazy ass story about Superman like flying into the sun and become Superman Prime or whatever.
The task that Snyder had for this movie was definitely something that's kind of implausible because he wanted to make it grounded and he wanted to make it dark, but the thing is you can't really go grounded unless you go really dark with these characters.
And And I will say, I'm glad he didn't like have the huge franchise, because as far as we had Man of Steel, we had Batman versus Superman, I guess Wonder Woman, but he just wanted to do like three Justice League movies and then be like done pretty much. So, so I like he kept himself grounded in the sense like, oh, we don't need to do more. Like, let me just do my story.
My pitch for Martian Manhunter was a war refugee and his family crash lands. I got rid of the family part. A war refugee and his family crash lands on Earth and gets hunted by Earth military. No, I didn't. No, I kept the family in for another story in the future. Except this time, it just seemed like they were dead. Oh. Yeah. Oh, I remember now. I didn't write this down, but this was a small detail that I wanted to put in there. Yeah, his family did come with him. And since he's been on Earth for so long, and since he's escaped for so long, one thing that they did, the military, the one thing they did was they kept the sun and made him into his image, basically. So whenever they would fight, or whenever they would connect or talk, or whenever the next time they would interact with each other, it would look like him, except he's kind of a brain dead robotic version of him.
Kind of like your Superman Bizarro type.
Yeah, but like he's kind of like a reflection of him that he once was, where he was like a ruler. He was this powerful being, and he wanted to fight. So that's where I took that character from. And then after that, there's kind of a little Easter egg in there somewhere. I don't remember what it was. That part I didn't. Yeah, that's my Martian Manhunter. Want to see it? I just love Martian Manhunter. He's one of my favorite characters. He's just so chill.
He is.
He's so vibe. He's like, I don't really want to do this. I'm gonna go fly.
Because I think I even kind of did that with some of the later movies in mind. So coming back to me with Phase 2.
Phase 2
did Batman Killing Joke as straight in the Phase 2. We're in the second phase of these movies, so I was like, it's time for a Batman movie, and it's literally copy and paste of the Batman Killing Joke animated movie. Like, no things around it. Like, but it introduced like Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing. Like, we don't get their backstories. We know who these characters are. And post-credit scene ends up being Amanda Waller. And she's got her Suicide Squad. She's got Harley. She's got Cheetah. She's got Heatwave, Mirror Master, and the Flash? ? But it's actually the Reverse Flash, but it looks like the normal Flash. Hawkman and Hawkwoman is our next movie. I'm sure there's a better name for that movie. Where are they from? You could just call it Themyscira, because that's where they're from. Because we already called one Krypton, and essentially,
Hawkman and
Hawkwoman? Yeah.
They're not from Themyscira.
No, they're not. No, yes, they are.
No, Themyscira is Wonder Woman.
Is it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Where are they from?
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about, though.
It's something like that, I'm pretty sure.
Themis.
We have had this conversation.
We have. Yeah, I barely remember it, but it got really dark in Justice League Animated.
Yes.
Yeah, if you go to like, I think it was the 3rd or 4th season or something like that, almost at the very end, it's revealed that Hawkgirl. Thanagar, yeah.
The got me. But it's kind of similar. This movie's kind of similar to the Krypton one, except instead of Hawkgirl dies instead of like Hawkman. Like So, but in the end, post credit, Martian Manhunter comes and recruits Hawkman to come to Earth, and they're creating a team of individuals.
There was an idea.
Yeah. So essentially, then number 11 is the Flash, Reverse Flash being the villain, and he's like essentially just posing as the Flash, and they kind of reveal the multiverse coming into this, because that's going to be kind of a big deal later. I made it way too convoluted just thinking about it, but...
Are you going to introduce the TV shows, CW, Flash, and stuff like that?
Well, kind of. We get to the, like, I guess... spoiler, like the Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths type stuff. But the post-credit scene is the Suicide Squad's coming for the Teen Titans for some reason. We don't know. We will in a second. The Teen Titans, though, is we get introduced them. Instead of Robin, I had Aqualad, Raven, Starfire, Beast Boy, and Cyborg. It's essentially, though, it's just a teen drama. It's like The Breakfast Club, like a John Hughes movie.
Okay.
I don't really have much more than that. It's just that movie.
They should have what's her name? She's like an earthbender. It was also in the show.
God, I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about. Tara.
Tara, yeah.
that
You should
would be
have
good.
her in there as a bad guy, and it's like an all inside job.
That would be good as
Yeah.
for that one. But so that's essentially that one. But I didn't have a post credit scene for that, but it's leading to the next movie. It's Teen Titans versus Suicide Squad, where they've been brainwashed by Brainiac. I guess it's kind of like the new one with Starro. But Brainiac is essentially, again, created by the New Gods. He is this AI that has been created by the New Gods, and the Suicide, whatever it's in. Yes, Brainiac. Essentially, they make him an ally in the end. He's a friend. He's a good ally. The post credit scene though is Robin is taking lead over. He's taking lead of just like Justice League stuff because Batman's gone for some reason. He's disappeared. He's off radar. We don't know where he is. So, and then the next one is Batman into the Batman verse. So this is how we kind of introduce the multiverse. It's a lot of time stuff where he's seeing several iterations of himself. I didn't have any like specific Batman that we've had in mind. Like this is a whole new actor, but like we see the other ones we've seen, and he figures out how to harness that power of the multiverse, and like he may need help from these characters, and he kind of recruits them along the way.
So like Spider-Man at the moment.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much. Hey, I hadn't seen the No Way Home trailer, so
But you were aware.
But so the next one's gonna be the Justice Society of America, and it's like The Hangover.
Okay.
It's Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern, and Hawkman, and Scarecrow's got him under his fear gas. And they like fight the Teen Titans, I think was what I wanted to say, and like, but they get saved, and
That was like the Justice League versus Teen Titans.
Aqualad dies, and Robin becomes the new leader of the Teen Titans. The post-credit scene is Superman waking up in the negative zone, or whatever it was called in the movie, and so Superman is gonna be showing up in the next movie, where we get Batman versus Superman as the climax for this phase. They face off. It's essentially Civil War. Superman gets Supergirl. I wrote Supergirl twice.
Supergirl.
Booster
Supergirl.
Gold, Green Lantern.
No, that one's Supergirl. That's different.
Supergirl, new character. Batman recruits Hawkman, Flash, Martian Manhunter. And Batman essentially has more people because it would be overpowered on the other end. But also, like, Batman is the one who recruited these people. But in the end, they all team up against a zombie Zod who has gotten, the New Gods have sent the Black Lantern rings to bring them back from the undead. We kill the Teen Titans here because it was like an all-out fight between everyone who was, again, but they also come back kind of with the Black Lantern ring in this movie. The post-credit scene is Darkseid is coming and leading into phase 3. And we'll toss it back to you, though.
Wait, I got a question. Did you base any of these from like the comic books? No, nothing.
Nothing specific except the Infinite Crisis coming up. But
okay, I thought like a couple of them were kind of similar to it. Yeah,
not unknowingly, but
the comic book ones are kind of ridiculous too. So
they are.
Yeah, so I wouldn't. I didn't do that much either. I like some of these.
My favorite one is probably the Bro movie. Like just getting, like, if you were able to set up a bunch of characters and then just have a Hangover-esque movie. Yeah. Like imagine like Thor, Ant-Man. Yeah. And I don't know, Falcon go on this like road trip, and I don't know. It's just
like Deadpool, and supposedly the new the Deadpool 3 we're supposed to be like a
road trip with like Logan and stuff. Yeah.
This next one is